Hello and welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. Just coming from driving in my car today, so I do apologize for the quality of the audio recording. But that being said, just because of the quality of the recording may not be as crystal clear as possible, that's not to say that the knowledge that I'm sharing with you freely isn't effective. So I did recently just make 10,000 subscribers here on YouTube, but I will warn you, and I'm going to publicly say now, that at some point don't be surprised if my channel does just get deleted and I decide to delete social media altogether and delete my Instagram, delete my website, and just go off all the apps. At some point, I will more than likely be doing that. So, good things come to an end too. As all things pass, good and bad, that's just life. It's the process of life. So, let's get on with the topic today at hand. I was thinking in my car, where I do a lot of thinking, as you can probably tell. The power of silence, the power of being quiet. It's very, very, very powerful. It's actually a very powerful tool, and one that can actually guarantee success for you if you know how to use silence and you're able to understand silence. So, I will share a little story that I've known for quite a while with you, and then I'm going to get into kind of the breakdown of this. Once there was a man who was a monk, and he lived outside of the monastery which he owned in a little house out in the jungle, in the forest. As so often, many monks also vow silence. They understand that spirituality is what it will always be, which is mastery of self. When we have no mastery of self, we're basically just animals and pigs and dogs, as I've done in previous videos pertaining to certain types of cultures of people and the planet now. But that's not the point. He lived in a little house outside of society, the hustle and bustle, and he was very, very peaceful. He had a sense of peace. And one day, a king who had heard about his notoriety of wisdom and peace came to his monastery and went out to his house and said, I'm just such a mess. Like, I've got everything I could want. I've got all of the riches, all of the fame, everything, but I can't quieten my mind. I'm just racing, and I'm not peaceful. I'm always agitated. I'm in a state of agitation. How do I get out of this? And the monk said to him, I can show you a way if you're prepared to suffer. And he said, well, okay. The monk says, you will stay in my monastery for 20 days, and you will do the tasks that are asked of you, but you will not speak. You will not speak. Not once. Do you agree? If you fail in this task, then you'll be asked to leave. And the king decided, in all of the monk's wisdom, that he would go ahead and take the challenge. On the first day, the king started to get very, very agitated. He started to become enraged with everything around him, wanting to ask questions, wanting to control the situation. The second day, even worse, could not handle being silent, could not handle keeping his fucking mouth shut. On the third day and the fifth day, even worse. By the sixth day, something began to change inside of the king's head. He began to become more still. The swirling and spinning inside of his head had started to slow down. And he made it all the way to the 20th day, and on the 20th day, he came out of the monastery with a sense of peace, with a sense of stability. And the monk asked him, "How do you feel?" And he said, "I feel calm." This is a reference to knowing that silence is ultimately one of the most powerful tools you could ever use on another person or use on yourself, in ways that can be very harmful and in ways that can be very, very good for you. There's also the same monk that said that the tongue is the sharpest sword of all. Even though it doesn't inflict physical wounds, the words that we use can be just as sharp and piercing and dangerous as a blade. Just cut straight through you. Or, knowing when to use it, it could also be wisdom and kindness and compassion. This is a very powerful thing that everyone wields. And I think there's truth in that. I've got people that I know, people that I keep in my life that are friends, and acquaintances on some level too. And I keep them there because I know that they are a reminder of everything that I should never ever be or let myself become. And then I have people in my life as well on some level that will also be everything that I kind of aspire to be or I take inspiration from. I like to keep it balanced in my life to get a perspective on understanding knowledge and power, because humans are a social species and we are creatures of learnt behavior. So if you're always talking, you're not listening. If someone else is talking and all you're doing is thinking about you interjecting with your point, you're not really listening. You're not present with the other person. You need silence, and I need silence more than anything. That's why one of the things that I won't put up with or I can't handle is someone constantly needing me to talk to them constantly, because they're insecure. They need constant reassurance. I did talk about this in a attachment style. The insecure attachment style person will always be chatty, because they have to have people around them constantly assuring themselves and reaffirming to them that the other person is there, they're being validated, they're being listened to. This is already weak. When we know who we are truly, people just come and go. We don't have to chase things. We attract things. I don't chase anyone. I attract people. That's the key. Also, knowing when to say something and knowing when not to speak is really, really key. I need silence to concentrate. I need to quieten my mind to be creative. If I don't have all of the main problems that I need to be dealt with, like food, shelter, feeling good, secure, stable, and able to create a silent environment for myself where there's no distractions, there's no noises going on outside that are distracting me, or I remove anything that could remove me from a state of me being in my highest state. So a lot of the time I'm laying on the floor. I'll lay on the floor in the lounge room. I'll lay on the floor in the hallway. I'll lay on the floor in the garage. When I'm in this state, the first two things I try to do is get to a cold bath of water when my head is spinning, or I lay on the floor. This creates to put me in a state that is silent. Now, if you've ever been in an argument with someone, or you're going through some level of divorce or fighting someone or arguing with someone on some level, it is the use of silence that will speak the most. Yeah? When someone doesn't reply back to you, when someone ghosts you, obviously it shows who they are. It is a power play on some level. It can be weaponized as a form of bullying and control, which is what a narcissist would do. But if you ever ignore a narcissist and give them silence, this will send the narcissist into a rage. And that's, by the way, I'm just handing you the key right there. The only way to destroy a narcissist is to remove your energy away from them, remove your focus and attention away from them, and ignore them through silence. This is the thing that will kill any psychopath or narcissist. Just right there. So when you've got people that are always constantly chatting, they're spinning, jumping, running, moving, twitching, just absolutely a shit show. And the yields that they create, well, there won't really be any yield. It's weak. Their work is crap. Because it can't be good, because they're not silent. They're not able to stay in their stillness and quieten their mind's eye to connect with themselves where they can really do their best work. That's why I like to know that silence really is like putting someone in a room, turning off the light, and shutting the door, which is what the monk would have got. At some point, if they don't have the skill set within them to actually do self-assessment and self-soothe, it will send them into a complete frenzy. But generally, if they're not on the narcissistic or Machiavellian scale, what will happen is the silence will eventually make them settle. It will be hell for the first couple of days or for the first kind of period of time, but then you can really start to see, as a lot of people have gone on these silent retreats, which would be very, very interesting to do. I'm very interested in doing this myself, actually, where we are with a group of people, but we just don't talk. Because what will happen is you'll go through that drowning feeling, because we're also conditioned to talk and chatter about absolute nonsense, about absolute bullshit. And we're giving time and energy to people and things that are just inconsequential to our existence. They're not important. So what happens is we can't use distraction and chatting about stupid shit as a way to avoid reality and truth. Because truth is truth. A lot of people that are always chatty, always distracted, puppy brain, the puppy brain, jumping around, looking at things, always moving, they can't sit still. They're a puppy. A child, an infant would be like that. They haven't mastered slowing down, being still, being centered, being grounded. That's in panic mode. We all know people that are like this. Sometimes we all go into this state. But when we know how to get out of it, I'm handing the biggest key knowing when to shut up. In an argument, like I was saying, it's the things that were not said in the argument which makes it so powerful. That's what makes it hurt the most. It's the things like, I love you, I'm sorry, let's not argue about this, it's not important, let's not make up nonsense. It's the things that are not said in an argument that are the most painful. Also, when you'll notice people are yelling at each other, they're raising their voice, that is because the natural state of humans is with other humans, connected in the heart, being seen and heard. Even when the two people are sitting right beside each other and they're yelling and they're raising their voice and they're yelling at each other, the reason that they're yelling is because they don't feel heard. That's why they're yelling. Because their hearts are so far away, they're so apart. That's why they're yelling, as if they're really far apart, but they're actually in the same room with each other. So, silence is key. Stop talking about what you're doing. I will deliberately tell people things that will potentially move where they think I'm going in a completely different direction to where I'm actually going. Everyone, and I mean everyone, should always be on a need-to-know basis. Everyone in my life, including my family, my friends, they're on a need-to-know basis, and basically they don't need to know. It's none of their business. You'll also find a lot of people are always asking, what are you doing? Where are you? What are you up to? But they never really want to be asked what they're up to, because they're just trying to get intel on you. Yeah? Because they've got not a lot really going on. That's why they're trying to live through you. And I understand that. We've all been there. Silence makes space for us to breathe. It is said that absence makes the heart grow fonder. In a relationship, it's said nothing breeds contempt for another person more than familiarity. So if you're always with someone all the time, how can you miss them? How can you pine for them? How can you desire something that is always there? Only in the absence of something, in the space of something, can we understand and appreciate what something is. Okay? Sometimes you don't need to speak because that person, they're just going to go and do the same stupid shit that they've been doing again and again and again and again and again. And you know that. If they're not able to understand you and hear you and have the bandwidth to comprehend you, stop talking to them. Stop talking about it. Just let them go do what they need to do. Because actions are more powerful than words. How someone treats you is how they feel about you. Okay? So, if someone treats you poorly, then that shows you who they are. If they can do that to you, they can do that to other people. Watch people's actions, not their words. In a conversation, know when to pause. When I'm in a room talking, I will not speak until the whole room is silent. Because when I get that silence, it creates a break, and then it becomes about respect, that I'm about to speak, that you're about to speak. Whoever is about to speak, that person's coming up to speak. But if I started speaking and talking when other people are still chatting away, I'm saying to them that I'll accept that. and I won't. Because when we assess people, we're all assessing how we treat each other by how we treat ourselves. That's why people that have no self-respect, they can't respect anything outside of themselves. People that debase themselves, they have no respect for anything because they don't respect themselves. Okay? This is really, really quite straightforward stuff, and a lot of the time we don't understand that. I would rather be around someone who's quiet because it creates a mystery than someone who just chats away, chatting all the time non-stop. Also as well, some people I've met I thought were really, really smart. I thought they were really, really switched on and really intelligent. I thought they really, really knew what they were doing. And as soon as they opened their mouth, I really wish they hadn't. Because as soon as they did, I just got to see that there's really not a lot going on inside their head. And they've got no idea what they're doing. Had they just stayed in silence, probably would have found out at some point anyway, but you catch my drift. In negotiation, the use of silence, the use of space. When someone says, I'm sorry, I've been busy, or a girl leaves you on red, or a guy leaves you on red, everyone's on their fucking phone all the time. If you've got time to flop your dick out and take a piss, you have time to send a quick text message. Attention is power. Okay? Lawyers know this. Oh, fucking hell, lawyers, of course lawyers know this. Politicians know this. Sometimes the most powerful one in the room will be the one in silence, watching, assessing, quantifying, dividing, analyzing. Don't give away your power, and don't share your visions with people. Like, I've got stuff going on that I share with absolutely no one. And also as well, when you share stuff and you're not silent and you're always talking, you're telling everyone your plans. You're telling everyone what you're doing, which can be used against you and be sabotaged. They'll interject with their energy or their opinion on something that you may not have even finished yet or even started yet. That's why we know the ones that actually go ahead and do the stuff that they're going to do, they don't talk about it, they just do it. The ones that talk about them doing stuff, they never do it. The ones that tell me that they're going to lose weight, they never ever do. The ones that do it, they just do it. Alright? So, understanding when to keep your fucking mouth shut, understanding when you don't know what you're talking about, just shut the fuck up. You're embarrassing yourself. A lot of these people, especially in American culture, it is unbelievable the absurdity of how unbelievably stupid people are. Because they just don't know when to shut up. So this is my video on silence. Find your strength in silence. Master your tongue. Sit in silence and quieten your mind. Quieten that fucking inner child. I think it was the actor Chris Pine was doing a chat about this a while back. I remember him saying, if you haven't heard it now, hear it from me. If you haven't heard it before, hear it from me now. The power of shh. The power of shh. Quieten down. Your inner dialogue is running around in circles when you could center that and then use it for something productive. Have a good week, and thank you so much for listening to this. Please leave a comment below if you enjoyed this and share it with anyone who might benefit from these types of real talk chats. Coming to you from my car. Lots of love, alright? Be strong. Master your silence.